In this video, we are going to talk about your first quarter market update for Madison, Wisconsin's real estate market. Hey there, if you're new to the channel, my name is Mark Gladue. I'm a broker associate with Lauer Realty Group, a small boutique firm located on both the near east and near west side of Madison, servicing all of Dane County. If you've come back, thank you so much. In this episode, we're going to be talking about seasonality, we're going to be talking about interest rates, and you're going to want to stick around. The video might get a little long. I apologize, but I wanted to talk about actual scenarios that my buyers and sellers are going through, and then I wanted to go over really specific and popular markets in Madison so you get a better understanding of what the median home price is, what the median days on market looks like. Okay, one of the things that I know people want to know about here in Wisconsin, because, well, we have 4 different seasons, it's called seasonality. The seasonality of the market is really important whether you're looking to buy and or sell. And why is that? Well, if you look at quarter 1, which is the market update we're giving you right now, there's only 16 to 18% of the homes that sell all year in Madison selling in quarter 1. So that means we have roughly about 400 homes that are selling right now. I think it's really interesting. I look back to 2020, we had almost 600 homes that were selling in quarter 1, and now we're down to 416. But if you take a look back at 2024, there were 2,440 homes that sold, and only 17% of those sold in quarter 1. So you may see a lot of agents out there who are saying, oh, look at this, the spring market has sprung, and all of these people are coming out to take a look at my listing. And while that's true, what they don't tell you is that historically, the spring market really starts to spring April through June, and then also in the third quarter. So what people are doing in this first quarter is they're actually feeling out the market. They're seeing if they want to purchase in a place where people are just starting to establish pricing. And what do I mean by established pricing? What I'm really talking about there is there aren't many homes on the market in the first quarter. And so if you're out there looking to buy and you need to buy sometime in the first quarter, chances are that you're going to be in competition with a lot of people who are doing the same thing. And so what happens there is we as real estate brokers may set a price based on last year's sales, but it could go even higher than that because there is a demand. So still a small supply in the Madison, Wisconsin area in quarter 1, but a huge demand. And what I mean by small supply is this. We have, on average, every week in the first quarter, less than 100 homes active on the market. Now that's if you take away all the new construction, which there isn't much. So if we add new construction, which I call something between 2023 to 2025 builds, you probably add another 40 homes onto the market. But with a city growing like Madison and a city the size of Madison, you can see that with less than 100 homes on the market, seasonality is really important. So if you're looking to sell your home or if you're looking to buy a home, just know that more homes are going to hit the market in the second and third quarter than do in the first and the fourth. And if you're looking to sell your home, guess what? The good news is prices are still rising and there's still a huge demand. The next thing we want to talk about are interest rates. Now, I can't say much about interest rates, and the reason I say that is because things have been so volatile since January. We've seen rates that have gone up to 7.2% and then come all the way back down to skirting just at about 6.1%. And that full percent can mean a lot in savings, whether you're buying your first home or you're downsizing. And so what we're really having to do is talk to our local lenders on a daily basis in this first quarter to determine where rates are going to go. And I think the same thing is going to be true in quarter number 2. What I will say is that rates will remain to be somewhere between that and 7%. However, there are a couple of loan programs that might get you down to that 6% sooner rather than later. So that might be something like an ARM loan. It could be a WIDA loan. It could be an FHA loan. The other part of this is if you make a certain amount, or under a certain amount, I should say, in the Madison area, you might also be able to qualify for the Madison Down Payment Assistance Program. I just had a client who qualified for this and was able to afford even more home than he was able to prior to noting that he could qualify for this program. So if you have more questions about that Madison Down Payment Assistance Program and you're a first-time home buyer, please feel free to reach out and I can get you all the information you need, because it could be very, very helpful if you're looking to get into home ownership. But again, interest rates right now, I don't know, anywhere between 6 and 7% on any given day. Follow the 10-year Treasury yields, follow the jobs reports, follow inflation reports. Those are the types of things that are going to help you out when coming to an understanding of where interest rates are going to be. It's not going to be when the feds drop or raise any of those rates. That's all prime. That's your auto loans. That's bank loans. That's things like that. But if you watch those other indicators and those factors, then you might have a better idea when interest rates are going to drop or if they're going to go up again. Or just call me and I can get local rates to you as quickly as possible. Each year I have a lot of clients who call me from out of town and they're relocating to Madison. And really what they're trying to understand is, what's the market like? They understand what the market is like where they're at, probably because they're going to be selling a home or because they've been watching the real estate market there. And what I would tell you is that it's a really good idea to connect with a real estate agent to ask questions like, how many days on market? What are you seeing with average list to sale price ratio? So are homes selling for far above their list price? Are they selling at list price? Are they starting to sell a little bit below? What we are hearing in quarter one from kind of the coasts inward and then some larger towns is that inventory is starting to pick up. It's more days on market and things like that. However, what we're seeing in Madison is still not that. And I don't know when we might see that, simply because our inventory is so low. So when you're looking to buy, if you're relocating to Madison, I want to give you a couple of really good pieces of information so you get a sense of where we're at and where we've been over the last year so that you know what you're doing when you get here. It's also going to be very helpful for those of you who are local, because it will give you an idea if you're just now getting into the market and maybe you're looking to buy that forever home, you're downsizing, or you're a first-time home buyer. And the thing is, if you don't know the way the market is moving, it might really surprise you. And so these next numbers will give you a great idea. If we look at Madison as a whole, so I'm looking at kind of Madison, not necessarily all the surrounding suburbs, but just on the outskirts of that, what we find is that the median home price in quarter number one is $465,000. Now that's up by about 3% from last year's quarter one, and the sales are actually up by about 2%. So if you look at last year, 407 homes sold in the first quarter. This year, 416 homes sold in the first quarter. So we are seeing just a bit of an uptick, even though interest rates are higher than they might have been that last first quarter. In 2025, we are in fact seeing more home sales and larger median home price. Now, if we look at days on market, for about 3 years in the Madison area, it remained the same. It was always about 6 days, 6 days, 6 days. What we found in the first quarter of 2025 is that ticked up just a little bit to 8 days. Now, does this indicate anything really? I don't think so. I think that what we're seeing is it could be dependent upon weather. It could be dependent upon interest rates. It could be dependent upon how many days that sellers were actually allowing showings so that all of the people could come in and see their home and then make offers. What I do know is, based on the activity that I've seen with my buyers and with my sellers in quarter one here in the Madison area, we're seeing an average of 5 days on market. And that's truly because we may start showings on a Thursday and then allow showings to go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then review offers on Monday. This is a fairly typical strategy in the Madison area. So if you're looking to relocate, or if you're just getting into the market, please note that a lot of times what's happening is you're finding people who are starting showings on Thursdays, going all the way through the weekend, maybe doing an open house on Saturday and Sunday, or one of the two, and then they're reviewing offers on Monday. So this is one of the reasons, and one of the only reasons, that we're actually seeing 5 days on market. The other thing we're starting to see is that sellers in the first quarter get a little bit antsy because they're not exactly sure where the market is at and what people are going to do. And so oftentimes you will see, we'll put 48 hours to review for binding acceptance. And what that means is that sellers will start to review offers as they come in, and then they want 48 hours to review because simply they're waiting to see if anyone else is coming. And most of the time in quarter one, in my personal experience with my buyers and sellers, there are a lot more people coming in. We start to see anywhere between 2 to 7 offers on properties. And the way I've always looked at this in the Madison area, in case you're looking to sell your home, we're not looking to bring in 30 offers. I see all of these social media posts from agents who are like, we got 30 offers on this house. We got 25 offers on this house. That's great. It's really popular, but what it means is that you didn't take the time to actually price the home correctly, and therefore you might have been leaving money on the table for one of those sellers. What I like to see in this market is maybe anywhere between 2 to 5 offers. You may have 30 showings, but if you only have 2 to 5 offers, then you're kind of cutting out that person who maybe couldn't afford it, or maybe wasn't willing to go all the way up to what the other people were willing to do. You're cutting out the piece of the market that actually isn't ready or isn't as interested as someone who needs to move right now. So again, if you're looking at 20 to 25 offers as a seller, I really apologize because it's a huge waste of time. I can tell you already, probably 15 of those offers aren't even above the list price, and the other 10 are awesome, and you're trying to look at those and focus on those while wiping out those other offers. So again, we have 8 days on market, which was the median here in Madison. $465,000 is the median home price. And up next, I'm going to start talking to you about specific neighborhoods, because even though I can tell you $465,000 is the median home price in the Madison area, if you start to look at neighborhoods like Nakoma, Shorewood Hills, Vilas, Eakin Park, the Marquette neighborhood, the Shank-Atwood neighborhood, these are very specific markets with not a lot of home sales throughout the year, and especially in quarter one. So what you'll find is that the median home prices in those areas might actually be just a little bit more. Let's take a deeper dive into some of the more popular neighborhoods in the Madison area. All right, we're ready to dive into some of the neighborhoods that are really popular here in the Madison, Wisconsin area. And again, if you have other neighborhoods that you're interested in, I would love for you to comment below and let me know, because I'd love to give you that information, whether you're looking to buy or sell, because I think it's really helpful to know what's happening with these sales. And again, it's not going to be a lot because these are very specific, small neighborhoods that people really love. So let's start out with Nakoma over on the west side. In 2025, Nakoma saw, first quarter again, Nakoma saw 6 home sales with your median home price being $830,000 with 8 days on market. So very similar to the whole of Madison with that average 8 days on market. In 2024, there were only 3 sales in the Nakoma area in the first quarter, and that was about $700,000 for a median home price, and you guessed it, 6 days on market. If we move over to the Vilas neighborhood, so Vilas in 2025 first quarter saw 2 sales. The median home price in Vilas in the first quarter was $1.35 million. So that's a far cry from where we're at in Madison. In 2024, there were 3 sales in the first quarter, and the average or median home price was $640,000, again with 6 days on market. Let's look at Shorewood Hills. So this is a really popular neighborhood, Shorewood Hills, right over by all the hospitals. It's right on Lake Mendota. It's got these beautiful homes. Let's see what happened. In 2025 first quarter, there were 3 sales. The median home price in the first quarter, $1.76 million. And then if we go back to 2024, there were 0 sales. So you can tell this is a neighborhood where not a lot of pops up, and when it does, it goes really fast, and it is a much higher price when you look at the median home price for Shorewood Hills. Then we move on to Dungeon Monroe. Dungeon Monroe is the neighborhood in which I work almost every day. Our offices are located at 2526 Monroe Street. Shameless plug there. However, 7 sales in the first quarter of 2025. The median home price is $900,000 for that neighborhood right now, with only 4 days on market. In 2024, only 1 home sale in the first quarter for $715,000. And back then, the median days on market was 12. Let's go all the way over to the east side. Now, we're going to look at a couple of neighborhoods that are really popular over there. And again, they are smaller neighborhoods, more specific. But I just want to give you an idea what more popular neighborhoods are selling for. So, east side, let's start with the Marquette neighborhood. Some people call it the Willie Marquette. Some people call it Marquette. This is what I'm going to call it. It's the Marquette neighborhood. And in the first quarter of 2025, there were 4 sales. The median home price was $685,000. In 2024 first quarter, there were 0 sales. So again, not a lot of home sales in this neighborhood. We then dive into the Schenck-Atwood neighborhood, and this is where our other office is located at 2229 Atwood Avenue. You can visit Liz and all the folks over there. Shameless plug. So the Atwood neighborhood saw 5 sales in the first quarter with a median home sale price of almost $500,000. 6 days on market. In 2024, there were actually 11 sales in the first quarter, and the median home price was $512,000 with 6 days on market. We then move over to what you could call the Eastmoreland neighborhood. A lot of people refer to it as Eastmoreland, maybe Old Brick because it's closer to Old Brick Gardens. This is a wonderful East Side neighborhood. A lot of great starter homes over there. So far, in 2025, in the first quarter, we've only seen 2 home sales, and the median home price is $256,000. In 2024 first quarter, we saw 4 sales. The median home price was $405,000. Now, if you split the difference between those two, that is on a yearly basis about where the Eastmoreland Old Brick sits as far as median home price. So probably in that $350,000 to $400,000 range. But again, we're just talking about first quarter, so I'll stick to the plan. And finally, Eakin Park. What a great neighborhood over there. Got a lot of good stuff going on. So in 2025, in the first quarter, we saw 6 sales with a median home price of $335,000 and the median days on market, 4. In 2024, there were 6 sales and the median home price was $319,000. So you can see Eakin Park is one of those where you can find great sweat equity homes for probably around somewhere like the $250,000 to $275,000 range, and then you can find homes all the way up to $425,000. Even though they're starter homes, it's a great little neighborhood, and I hope that you're able to check it out. There you have it. That's quarter 1 for the Madison, Wisconsin real estate market in a nutshell. Again, we talked about seasonality. We talked about interest rates. We talked about current market trends and what I'm actually seeing in the market with both buyer and seller clients. And then we talked about some more specific neighborhoods to kind of break down what the Madison area really looks like on both the east and the west side. If you're new to this channel and you've liked the content, I would love if you would go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure to comment. Make sure to let me know if there's more information out there that you need, or if there's something that seems askew that I'm just not picking up on. As always, we really appreciate your time, and we're glad you stopped by.